Hi, I'm John Sage with Sage Traveling, and I am here in Cinque Terre. This is incredible. I'd been told for 10 or 15 years that it was not wheelchair accessible at all. Even trying to come here this time, I was determined to do it, to see it first time. But when I contacted everybody, they said, it's not accessible, don't even try coming. We came anyway. And so we did find a little farmhouse here. It's not very accessible, will not recommend it. But we were able to come here and inspect accessibility in a bunch of the cities. So here's the lowdown here of accessibility. First, Cinque Terre is probably the hilliest tourist area in all of Europe. Maybe Switzerland has some areas that I've seen that have been as hilly, but they haven't jammed the cities between the mountains and the ocean. So it's at least a little more open and they can build trains and things like that. This is extremely hilly, so that's the big problem. You go into these towns and there's either a very steep street or there are stairs. However, we were able to find a few accessible areas, but before I get into that, some of the other challenges are the getting between towns. So you've got a few options. There are ferries. Those are not accessible. The gangways are too narrow. You have trains. Those are not accessible. They don't have elevators to the train stations. And the one train station that does have an elevator, they don't have a lift to get people onto the train. And then the hiking trails are not accessible. There was one called Via dell'Amore, but it had a rock slide. It's been closed for years, and they don't know when it's going to reopen. So the last option is driving. There's two challenges there. First is that it's very hilly, windy, sort of scary roads in a lot of places. Also, you need to get permission to enter the town if you have a disabled parking permit. Challenge is you need to call. You can't email that. You have to call, and you need to call in a town and preferably speak Italian. So that's really a challenge. So this whole area is definitely difficult, but here's the flip side, is that we were able to find some accessible areas where there were either sort of flat streets or just sort of moderately sloping streets that didn't have any steps. And what we've done is we've put together a tour itinerary that visits 3 of the 5 towns. It includes accessible transportation, a tour guide, permission to get in close, breathtaking photo opportunities. You can have restaurants by the ocean, the whole thing. We've got this great tour that we've been able to design, and we'll be offering that on sagetraveling.com. While we were here, we also were able to identify some accessible accommodation, and we'll be developing some accessible travel packages for Cinque Terre. Those can also be found on sagetraveling.com. Those come with our 24/7 emergency support, and you can easily pair those up with other Italian destinations like Milan or Florence or Rome or Naples or other places. So that's it. We finally figured this out. Very excited to be able to offer Cinque Terre as an accessible destination.